I've said my prayers, then you were there. I only know I'm safe and sound because in you I'm found. I was a missing person with everyone before, hiding in my disguises, so prepared for war. But not anymore. I found in you safe ground. In you I've said my prayers, then you were there. I only know I'm safe and sound because in you I'm found. I only know I'm safe and sound because in you I'm found.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, San Jose, a place where we are transforming lives, building dreams, and revealing love. Welcome home. My name is Julia Snow, and I'm a practitioner in training. With me today is BJ King, and she's our practitioner of the day. We'd like to welcome you to our spiritual home. And now a special word of welcome for anybody that's here for the first time. We are so glad you're here. After the service, we invite you to go out to the concierge desk to sign our guest book and to pick up a welcome packet. The welcome packet includes a gift for you and information about our center, and there also will be a concierge team member to answer any questions you might have. If you'd prefer, you can pick up a welcome packet in the foyer on your way out. The flowers today are a gift of Doug and Janet Irwin in loving memory of their father, David Irwin. Let's take a moment to celebrate being in community. Please turn to someone near you and greet them. Each week, we spend 2 minutes in silence. At this time, would you please silence all of your mobile devices to ensure the sacredness of the silence? And please join us in a chant, which will lead us into the 2 minutes of silence.
remaining in that place of sacredness. And we celebrate that we are on holy ground, and that the love and peace and joy of God came into this room through each one of you. This is just a time to remember who we really are, and to know beyond a doubt that all is well, regardless of what it may look like. The energy, the love, the power, the confidence, the courage, the wisdom of God is who we are. And as we move through this day and through this week, we remember that God and I are one. I live in a place of gratitude for everything, believing and knowing that all is well. And as I release these words, I absolutely am assured that God's got it and is touching each heart with love and joy and happiness. And so it is. So please join me with today's affirmation. Today, I bestow the essence of love upon everything. Everyone I meet shall be loving to me. My soul meets the soul of the universe in everyone. This love is a healing power, touching everything into wholeness.
Did I tell you I love the way you smile? Did I tell you I'd walk the longest mile? Did I tell you that you're the one for me? Did I tell you I love you? Did I tell you the sun shines where you walk? Did I tell you I love the way we talk? Did I tell you that fairy tales come true? I love you. Angels came together and they let you go. Then the birds wrote a song just to let you know. Then the wind came along and breathed this love into my heart. Did I tell you that's my favorite part? Did I tell you that God is on our side? Did I tell you that goodness never hides? Did I tell you that you're the one for me? Did I tell you I love you? Did I tell you that miracles occur? Did I tell you I vow to never hurt? Did I tell you it's joy that I pursue? I love you. Angels came together and they let you go. And the birds wrote a song just to let me know. And the wind my favorite part. Our love will stand the test of time. We'll build a life that's yours and mine. No words, no one will change our path. We have each other. This will last. Angels came together and they let you go, and the birds wrote a song just to let me know, and the wind came along to breathe this love into my heart. Did I tell you that's my favorite part? Did I tell you I love you with all my heart?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Michelle Lewis, and I'm very happy to be giving today's 5-minute talk. When Susan and I spoke a few months ago, and she told me that the topic today was love, I thought, oh, cool, that should be fun and easy. And then the more I thought about it, I realized love is actually a tough topic to speak on because it's so vast, it's so deep and so complex, and yet it's so simple. It's our most basic human emotion, and everyone from a newborn baby to a great-grandparent knows everything they need to know about love at any given moment. So I thought, oh God, what can I say? And then I went back to something I learned not long ago, is that you share your experience, and maybe it resonates with somebody. So I'm going to share something that I've very recently just realized for myself, but it's been huge. And so I grew up in a crazy, large, wonderful, big Mexican family. I have 9 brothers and sisters and a bunch of uncles, aunts, cousins, you name it. And it was wonderful, but it was extremely strict, extremely religious, extremely male-dominated, and most of the adults were battling addictions to substances and to relationships, and usually both. So although I know they did the very best they could with what they knew, it was pretty tough. And this led me to experiencing around love extreme highs and lows, extreme elation and devastation, and extreme hope and anxiety. In other words, whenever I felt love, whether with my family, with friends, or later in adult relationships, there was fear, paralyzing fear. Fear of rejection, fear of not being good enough, fear of unfaithfulness and infidelity, and most especially fear of abandonment. I don't know if you guys remember in high school, there was this really popular saying, if you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it was yours. And if it doesn't, it never was. I was like, what? What if it never comes back? Like, that was truly just terrifying, even the thought of that. I thought, how do I hold this hostage? So, yeah. My solution, of course, was to give and give and give in a very unhealthy way until there was nothing left of me. And I hoped that I could somehow will this other person, whoever they were, into loving me back and staying. And I did this for 40 years or more, and it never, ever worked. And then a miracle happened. It didn't feel like a miracle at first, and it was very unexpected, but the beginning is that in about 2009, I lost everything. We lost our house in foreclosure and had to move in an emergency situation. Our family business failed within a period of a few short months because of the economic crisis. My kids were completely acting out in ways that just devastated me. And shortly thereafter, my 17-year marriage came to an end. And yet, the most profound loss through all of this to me was that I felt like my soul was bankrupt. I felt like I had no idea who I even was anymore. So in that very shattered and broken down state, I embarked on an aimless but very sincere spiritual journey back to me. And without realizing what was happening, I learned to give and let go of expectations. I learned to know that everything is exactly perfect and the way it should be and always has been. And I learned to be forgiving and accepting. Most importantly, I learned to love myself, and it came in an environment in which I heard, "We will love you until you learn to love yourself." And it was true. I didn't learn these things from a guru or a therapist or even in a personal relationship. I learned them from the most beautiful universal love of community in places like Rainbow Women's Chorus, Al-Anon, Global Heart Choir especially, and this entire community of CSL San Jose, which is now my spiritual home. I saw that just by opening myself up and being present and surrendering, that I didn't have to fight to receive love. And I no longer had to give love from a place of desperation. I didn't have to be afraid anymore. And I found freedom and joy. I saw that the power of love is that it can and will eventually heal itself if you let it. Love endures. Love believes. Love hopes. And love never ever stops dreaming. How has this impacted my life? Well, I found my way back to Michelle, the true, real, core me. And I love better, I love deeper, and of course I love truer. And I have more joy from all of my relationships, whether it's my children, people I meet for the first time, or relationships I've had for a number of years. I get to be in joy with love all around me all the time, and it's amazing. And I was also able to attract what I put out into the universe. And so, I had this on the wrong way last service. Just 2 days ago, on Friday, February 7th at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, underneath century-old entwined oak tree and redwood tree, yes, in the pouring rain, I married my best friend, my soulmate, and the man beyond my dreams. I have finally been able to experience being in a relationship of love without fear. And it is my wish that all of you get to experience that too. Thank you for sharing, letting me share today with you. My name is Mrs. Michelle Lewis.
Good morning. Happy almost Valentine's Day. I know there are those folks who absolutely love this Sunday, the Sunday closest to Valentine's Day, and there are those who specifically avoid it. I know that during first service there were people who had arrived having forgotten that this was Vow Renewal Sunday, and they felt trapped and didn't know how to get out. But they were glad they stuck around, because during the vow renewals we have an opportunity for those folks who are not currently coupled or who are in the process of uncoupling, who everyone here today, even those who are witnesses at the end of service, have an opportunity during the vow renewal to renew the vow between you and the unseen guest. And it's pretty profound. In first service, I'm sorry that you missed it, there was actually a wedding, there was a proposal. There was a proposal during first service. It was stunning. Most people went, no. Bernie had asked me if he might have 60 seconds to get up here and speak to his beloved Karen, because Karen said she would marry him if he would be able to do it in such a way that she was surprised. And I said to him, now, Bernie, I'm willing to participate and let you have the stage with the microphone, but you better be darn sure she's going to say yes. Because if she doesn't say yes, then you're going to be like profoundly in need of the licensed practitioners after service who will be able to pray with you. And she totally says yes. I mean, she screamed like a girl. It was awesome. So did I. It was fantastic. So, anybody else want to bring it on? Anyway, this last week I was in Missouri. I went to Springfield. In 2007, my father passed away, and my mother went to live with my youngest sister, who's the sanest of my siblings. And my mom's been living with Sharon and Sharon's husband Harry since 2008. Well, this last couple weeks, Mom's been falling more and more, and Sharon's just not equipped to keep picking her up off the floor, and it's just not working. So my mom, through her own initiative, began to explore nursing homes. And she found one that's just a few blocks from my sister's house and has voluntarily moved herself there. But I went to Springfield because I wanted to see her and I wanted to check it out, because I have all kinds of mixed feelings about this. So I went to this nursing home in Willard, Missouri, and I got to tell you, right now I'm kind of like messed up. I'm a little messed up because I was sitting in her room for 2 days. I went there and hung out with her because I wanted a sense of what the place was like, because I'm just nosy and I wanted to know what was going on there. And it was extraordinary what went on in the machinations of my cranium, watching her and realizing that this is the end of an era and the beginning of a new era. And even though she has voluntarily put herself in this environment, I couldn't help but think about my dad, my dad and my mom, and how they had a monumental relationship. Wow, monumental. It's my prayer that anybody that's married could live like my parents lived. I don't know how they raised 10 kids with one income. I don't know how they put us through private school, and I don't really know how. I mean, even when I asked my mom, she goes, I guess that's what love does. Love can create all kinds of things, even finding, I don't know how they did it. And partnership. They existed on partnership. They survived and thrived. They each had a role. They took a role. And it wasn't like the other tried to get the other to be like the other. They each had a role that was distinct. And each role was different. Like an apple and a peach are equal but different. My mom and dad were equal but different. And so there. First service, I was just I was like on caffeine. I was like shooting caffeine, and I haven't had caffeine because I'm on a cleanse. Right? What a week to be on a cleanse when you're going to Missouri. Because they don't. Do you know? I went into a market trying to find organic, and they were like, "I'm not making that up. I'm not making that up. I'm not." And I asked, "Well, do you have any vegetables? Potatoes?" Potatoes that are smashed and breaded and deep fried called hush puppies. That's a vegetable. So, yeah. Anyway, it was really cool to be in Missouri with my mom and my sister Mary and my sister Sharon. And we got Mom in the front seat of my sister's car. So Sharon's driving, Mom's in the passenger seat, Mary's in the back next to me, and I'm sitting next to Mary. I can see the back of my mom's head. And Mary was the troubled child. She was the one who was, before 15, addicted to drugs and alcohol, and eventually became a crystal meth addict who eventually got clean and sober, took care of my dad the last 2 years of his life to make amends, and then won the Oregon State Lottery. Yeah, we are a soap opera. So, and then consequently ended up buying a house in Missouri and living this life rescuing dogs. It's just, it's her life. And I must tell you, I'm so happy to be back. But while in Missouri, in this car, I was looking at the back of my mom's head. Mary was telling Mom, she was one more thing to make amends, for which to make amends. Now, when I was a kid in East LA, when we were going to public school, we were given a little stack of quarters. I don't remember how many were in that little stack, but it was enough for lunch. That was the lunch that we paid for at school. So in the morning, I could still hear the sound of the coins as my mother put the little stacks onto the buffet. And then as each one of us would leave, we'd put on our sweater, we'd grab our stack of quarters, and we'd go. But we're supposed to take one stack. Well, I didn't know it. I just knew that periodically more than one stack was missing. And my mother never knew who did it. But there Mary was in the back seat. She says, "Mom, I need to ask your forgiveness. You remember the stacks that were missing?" My mom went, "Well, kind of." And Mary said, "Well, it was me. Can you forgive me?" My mother turned around and said, "I'll think about it." And I thought, I didn't know my mother had a sense of humor. I said, that was pretty funny, right? And then and it was like dead silence. And I went, oh my God, she's serious. This is so uncomfortable. Because what if she doesn't forgive her? And I saw Mary and Sharon exchanging glances through the rearview mirror. And then we got to lunch, and Mom said, "I forgive you." I went, "Wow, thank you," because I had to poop. I was getting really wow, I didn't plan on that either. So it was beautiful to be in that nursing home, because it occurred for me as I was preparing for today's topic, which is you can't live alone. And by the way, this doesn't apply to like if you live alone in an apartment, you can't live. Of course you can live alone. But you and I've done it, and I love it. But you can't live alone. You can have your own place. You can be the only person that ever goes in there. But you can't live alone. And I realized my mother's not living alone in this nursing home. And so I was going to establish relationships and make connections with the people that work there, because it's not just my mom and the woman who shares my mom's room now. There's an administrator who's responsible for this organization. I want to know who that is. And I want to know who the businesswoman is if we have to make phone calls to her. And I want to know who's running the kitchen. And I want to know who her neighbors were. So I moved through like I was the mayor. The best way, by the way, the best way in a nursing home to make friends is to come in carrying boxes of pizza. Yes, but some advice. Check with the dietitian first, because there may be people who are not supposed to have it. Yeah, so there I dropped off a box of pizza at the administrator's office. I dropped off a box of pizza in the kitchen area. I dropped off a box of pizza with the business admin people, and then I took the rest of the pizza and sat in the dining room. And all of a sudden, all these people came wheeling into, and the place was busy. And by the way, they can move fast. You smell pizza? These people move fast. But it was stunning to watch how people who seemed to be isolated in their own rooms and their whole existence was just pushing the button, waiting for someone to help them come to the bathroom, suddenly became a community around pizza. You can't live alone. And who's going to cause this to happen? The administrators and the staff there? Let's tell the truth. They're busy. They're like treading water. Who's going to do this? Well, I was there. It was mine to do. And my prayer is if another son or daughter comes in for other parents, that they do it. And I'm advising that you do that today too. Stop being a stranger in your world. Stop it. And you know you are. If you don't know the name of your barista, if you can't call people by name when they're your supermarket checker or your waiter, Well, maybe you don't always have the same barista or always have the same waiter or supermarket checker. Well, whatever one's in front of you, if they've got a name tag on them, call them by name. They are now your community because you can't live alone. You can't. Our book of the year is called A New Design for Living. And the topic today is You Can't Live Alone, which is only a paragraph. I'm loving this book because like a chapter is a paragraph. Aging is fascinating. I mean, it's a beautiful, wondrous thing. Thank you, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, and all the saints. It is very likely that one of the greatest problems facing the individual and the world as a whole today find its roots in a lack of love, a lack of a sense of interdependence. Everything is part of one great harmonious whole. Once this balance is upset, once there creeps in a feeling of complete independence, then trouble starts to appear. The family unit needs to have a feeling of love permeating it, a sense of interdependence. Whether you're husbands or wives or child, you're all bound together by a feeling of love for each other, dependence on one another. This does not mean that a child should not grow up, mature, and go out into the world, but it does mean that no one can become so self-centered, so self-sufficient, that he or she can cut herself off from any person by a feeling of dislike or even of hate. It could be that this same pattern of action holds true on the international level. You can't live alone. I don't remember if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, but it was a very memorable flight. I was on a flight. Volaris is the airline, and Volaris is a Mexican airline. And I was flying from Guadalajara to San Jose, and I love flying on Volaris because you never know what's going to happen. Never. So you can pretty much be assured the flight's going to take off and land safely. That's cool. But whatever happens in the cabin is a free-for-all. You never really know what's going to happen. I like when I board a plane in Mexico because people get on the plane with things that they don't typically get on the plane with in the United States. Like you carry a box and there's like steam coming out of it, and it smells like tamales. And sometimes the boxes that they're carrying move on their own accord. And so I love to fly. I mean, hi Tim. Hello, by the way, online people. Sorry. And for those of you who are guests, I'm David Bruner. I'm the senior minister and spiritual director. I forget we have a lot of guests here today because their wives brought them since it's vow renewal. So Volaris, I love to fly because it's one of the few times in my life when I'm actually I get to isolate for just a little while, and I choose window seats because I like to pretend I'm looking out so I don't have to talk to people next to me. And I love people, but sometimes I'm just spent. So an airplane is a good excuse to put in my earbuds even when I don't have any music on, and sometimes I'll just move my head so people leave me alone. There's nothing going on, but I'm just like, leave me alone, or I look a little crazy. I'm okay with that. And it's time for me to catch up on my movies and my TV shows. So on this particular flight, I had just purchased the full season of Dexter that I had not seen. And how many of you know what Dexter is? Show of hands? Excellent. Everybody else, I'm sorry for the next few moments. So I put in the first disc of Dexter. I put on my earbuds. And by the way, we had just taken off. The beauty of Volaris is the wheels haven't even gone down yet, and people are then out of their seats and pulling themselves up the aisle to get whatever they need from overhead. It's fascinating. So I'm sitting next to the window. I've got my computer open, and Dexter begins, and then Dexter does what Dexter does. Okay, let me pause for a moment. So living with somebody who has English as a second language has required something in my household that I wouldn't have expected. So we put subtitles on the screen. We put subtitles because even though he hears English, if he reads it, it doubly assures that he gets the context of what's going on. Now, I understand this because as someone learning Spanish, when I'm watching a Spanish-languaged film, I will put subtitles on. Bye. I will put subtitles on. By the way, you are amazing. She's not paying attention, but her husband is. How many kids are you guys going to have? 8 or 10? And she's ready for it. God bless you. So we have subtitles on because it helps with language. So here I am with Dexter on, and there's subtitles going on, and there's a woman sitting next to me whom I've never met before. And as soon as Dexter does what Dexter does, and for those of you who don't know, it's a lot like, as soon as that happens, I hear her very loudly go, "No!" So I turn my body a little towards her so I could turn my computer away from her, and she goes, "No, no, no." And then she like leans over and starts pushing buttons and I went, because this is a very tight space, you know what I'm talking about? And this is not personal space anymore, because if we're all sharing the same air, we're sharing the same space too. And so I didn't know what to do. My Spanish wasn't so good back then. I didn't know, so I pull out my little DVD bag, and she starts flipping through my DVDs. By the way, not a word has been exchanged except for no. She pulls out a DVD and hands it to me. So I pop out Dexter, and I put in this DVD, and then she goes. So I take out my right earbud, and I give it to her. She puts it right, and we like leaning heads toward each other. And then we're watching this movie, and then she leans over and she pulls out this box, and she pulls out tamales, and we're like having tamales, just peeling it down like bananas. It was fantastic. And by the way, I'm not making this up. I am not making this up. But shouldn't life be like that, you know? Really, where you're not living alone? Well, you want some privacy, but yeah, you can't live alone. And it's time to stop trying. You know? How many of us long for a world that works for everyone? But a world that works for everyone is a world wherein people are feeling connected and they feel like they have relationships with one another, and a place wherein people are honored and noticed and valued, where nobody's really a stranger. I make it my mission to not be strangers with people, and it brings me a lot of delight. It may not work for you, but it brings me such delight. Like yesterday we were up at North Star, and it was so messy. It was raining and snowing and raining and snowing, and we were drenched, and it was like, this is a really good day to have like a 3-hour lunch. So we went to Schaefer's Camp, and we were having lunch, and Alana was her name. She was our waitress. But do you know, your experience in a restaurant is altered when you no longer have to look for a waiter, but you can call Alana. Then you're at home. Then you belong. And that's what most people are looking for, is a sense of belonging. But it's up to you to create it, see? So when you call a waiter by name, let's say, or a supermarket checker, don't underestimate the power of what happens when you move through a nursing home and you start calling people by name. They start calling you by name, and then they start noticing you too. And I know that this will benefit my mom too. Yesterday, I saw something on Facebook. William and Adrian had posted it, and I did some research. So it's somewhat true, but all the details are a little sketchy, but it was profound. In Kentucky, every year, about 1,000 high school choir students go to a music educators seminar, and they all stay in the same hotel. And the hotel is a lot like the Marriott Marquis in Times Square, which is, picture a square tower, but the internal part is completely hollow. So all of the balconies look down into a central atrium. And this building in Kentucky, this hotel, is 18 stories tall. And so there's 1,000 high school kids staying in this hotel. And they have a tradition, and that is before they go to bed, they come out, they all come into the inner atrium, all on 18 floors, 1,000 high school students, and they sing like a goodnight song. And I'm like imagining like the Von Trapp family and The Sound of Music. You know, they're all singing So Long, Farewell, Auf Wiedersehen, good night. But because it was the opening night of the Olympics, and because they were in the United States, they all began singing the American national anthem. And I got to tell you what, when one person sings it, some part of us that is even beyond choice responds to patriotism, even if you try to be the world's largest cynic or anti-patriot. There's something emotional and basic that is triggered when a group of people take a stand for something. And so when we hear like a patriotic song, that's, I think, what's triggered, is a group of people who are taking a stand for a vision. And I got to tell you, I still have a strong attachment to the vision that is the United States, you know. I have a very strong attachment to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness for everybody. Well, these kids, one will move me. 1,000 trained voices singing in a box atrium causes chills on, like, I can't even describe it. Reverend Susan, will you remind me to post this on my Facebook page so that people can check that out later? I'm telling you this because one can make a difference. 1,000 can transform lives. While I was in Missouri, I called Mauricio, and Mauricio had just left a BKO. I thought that was a new sandwich at Burger King. But a BKO apparently is a business kickoff. And he works for Pete's Coffee and Tea Home Office. And so for those of you who give me Starbucks cards, thank you. But I don't tell Mao I have them in my wallet. So he works for Pete's, and at the Pete's business kickoff on Wednesday last week, their chief operating officer said, if you want to travel swiftly, travel alone. But if you want to travel far, go together. It's an African proverb, but if you want to travel quickly, if you want to travel swiftly, go alone. But if you want to travel far, go together. I know this. I have a first-hand experience about this. We're traveling far as a spiritual community, and I'm fortunate to be surrounded by extraordinary people who are taking on this community. When I started here I took my letter of call in 1999, in December of 99. I moved here in January of 2000. So this is my 15th year here. When I started here, we had a Sunday's attendance of about 50 people. Member on record was about 90. Current Sunday attendance is about 450, and with our online folk, we have about 550 people every Sunday. And it's extraordinary how that's altered, but here's what I've learned. I have learned that we've gone this far because we travel together. I was able to manage this organization when it was 250 or less. I could manipulate it and pull out all the tricks that I had. When I moved here, I had a bag of tricks that was impressive, but not sufficient for what we're up to. So I went quickly on my own. I could move things fast by myself. But for us to go the long haul and to make the Global Heart Vision a reality, and the Global Heart Vision is a world that works for everyone. That's what all that text is. It's basically this. We envisioned the ending of war. We envisioned the recreation and the resurgence of art and aesthetics, a world in which forgiveness is the norm. That's what we're up to. And I can't do that by myself. I tried. I used to think that me with my knowledge that I gained through 14 years at a supermarket was sufficient to run an organization like this. It's not. So I'm glad I've been surrounded by people who love me enough to tell me the truth, and that is, David, stop pretending. And in so doing, a core council and a visioning core and a licensed prayer practitioner group and members and friends and donors and visitors keep this place thriving so that the Global Heart Vision exists. But I can't do it alone, and I don't even pretend anymore. Mostly now, if you ask me for something, here's the answer you're going to get. The same one, finally, I've turned into my dad. Go ask your mother. So you can't do it alone. I'm about to end, but I want to end by telling you there's a woman whose name is, her name is Glennon, Glennon, Glennon Doyle Melton. And Glennon Doyle Melton believes that all violence begins with disconnection. She believes that all violence begins with disconnection. she has a son named Chase, and Glennon's son named Chase was learning some new math, and there was trouble in the house understanding it. So Glennon called Chase's teacher and said, "Can you help us?" And the teacher says, "Sure, just make an appointment, have Chase make an appointment with me and I'll tutor him." And Glennon says, "No, it's not Chase. Chase understands. I don't understand." So the teacher took on Glennon, and so Glennon's going to this, Glennon, the mother, is going to Chase's 5th grade classroom after school, and she's getting tutored in math. But while she's there, she's talking with the teacher, and she learns that the teacher has a particularly beautiful practice. Every Friday, just before classes end, the teacher asks the students to make a list of the 4 individuals, of the 4 students with whom they'd like to sit the following week. Now, the children know that these requests may or may not be honored, but she also asks that the students nominate one student whom they believe has been an exceptional classroom citizen that week. Then the teacher goes home with a stack of papers nominated by these 5th graders. And here's what she learns. Who is not getting requested by someone else. She learns who doesn't even know who to request. She learns who never gets noticed enough to be nominated. And she learns who had 1 million friends last week and none this week. See, Chase's teacher is not looking for a new seating chart or exceptional citizens. She's looking for lonely children. She's looking for children who are struggling to connect with other children. And she's identifying little ones that are falling through the cracks. And she's discovering whose gifts are going to go unnoticed by their peers, but also, finally, here's what it is. She's pinning down who's the bullies and who's being bullied. And so Glennon asks the teacher, "For how long have you been doing this?" And the teacher says, "Since Columbine." She's been doing this every Friday since the shootings at Columbine. Now, that inspires me. That's someone who's really creating a world that works for everyone, because she's really realized you can't live alone. So I'm willing to stop pretending. One way to do that is today, even if you're not going to be coupled and saying the vows, and you're not inclined to put your hand over your heart and say the vows, that you will stand for the couples that are in the aisles taking their vows. You'll take a stand for them, that you will actually stand with them, that you will take a stand that their vows mean something. Something I've learned from my Mexican in-laws that's really impacted me. Well, I've learned a lot from them, but something that I can tell you. Families and friends have the power to bring people together. They also have the power to tear people apart. Make sure you are inclined to bring people together. That would be my prayer for you. I'm not going to pray right now. Instead, I'm just going to let the group, our actions later, be a prayer. I'm going to ask the ushers to come help us with the sharing of our gifts and tithes and offerings. And while they do that, Karen's going to sing us a brief little song, after which we will have the announcements, which is brief, and then we'll have the vow renewals or the vows for all y'all. Does that work for you guys? Cool. Please say your giving affirmation with me, won't you? I am generous and kind, and I trust my generous, kind nature. I attract the best people, things, and experiences. I expect lavish support so that I can lavishly support the world. Oh, before you do, Karen, I wanted just to tell you some good news. Those of you who don't know, because you've never been in the ladies' room, you won't know that the ladies' room here has hot water. I know, it's a miracle. Well, some of the women found out that the men's room does not. And they figured that was just not okay. So unbeknownst to most of the men here, there was a group of women, they got together and they told 2 friends and they told 2 friends. And within a week, they raised about $800. So we are about soon to embark on installing hot water in the men's room thanks to the Women's Club. So thank you very much.
So let's celebrate. I welcome you all to sing along with me. The words are on the PowerPoint. there's a light inside of a sister, and I don't know if you know there's a light that is so bright. Just thought I'd tell you there is a light inside of a brother, and I don't know if you know there's a light that is so bright. Just thought I'd tell you there is a love inside of your heart, and I don't know if you know there's a love that is so strong. Just thought I'd tell you, celebrate, 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 celebrate inside of a sister, and I don't know if you know there's a light that is so bright, and it's time to celebrate, 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 celebrate,
Thank you very much for your music, Karen, and you too, Dave. Thank you both. Everybody, just a quick brief announcements. We have a service this evening at 6 p.m. Megan Dake-Morrell will be our facilitator and speaker. And our February outreach, we are still collecting new stuffed animals, all shapes and sizes and kinds, for children who are in the foster care system. And we have this week, wow, we have so much. There's Pilates going on Tuesday and Thursday mornings. The Better Business Breakfast is this Tuesday morning at 7. The continental breakfast is provided. We're sowing seeds of greatness with the ABCs of spirituality on Wednesday night. The theme this week is blessings. Be present, being present. And then on Thursday night, we have our Awaken Thursday, silence from 7 to 8, a brief sharing, and then we share a meal as well in silence. And then really awesome, Matlin Vanderhorst, who is a practitioner emeritus. Matlin is starting prayer circles on Tuesdays and Wednesdays from noon to 1 o'clock right here in the sanctuary. So if you'd like to come between 12 and 1 on a Tuesday or Wednesday, you can sit in here with Matlin, and she'll hold a circle for you to speak out your prayer intention, and people can pray for one another. It's awesome. If you are interested in becoming a member of the Core Council, the requirements and application for that can be obtained from Marsha Ben-Kala. There's information on that in your bulletin as well. And by the way, even if you don't want to take this home, you can get it online, or you install the new app and have it. I made an announcement for service that new name badges were in, but they're not. I'm a liar. No, so so hang in there. They will be here soon. And I don't know if Dr. David mentioned that on Sunday mornings, he's still holding the silence from 8:30 to 8:45, and then we have chanting from 8:45 to 9:15. And lastly, we have I'm actually offering a brand new class. It's an adult enrichment class that we've never had here at the center before. There's no prerequisite because it's not certificated, but it's a class that begins on February 27th. It's on 5 Thursday nights, and it's called E Squared, and it's kind of fun because we're going to explore 9 do-it-yourself experiments that you can do on your own to prove that your thoughts create your reality. So it's going to be a fun class that we will start together. So if you're interested in that, I am asking people to please register ahead of time, though, because we're going to start to have a minimum requirement for classes. So showing up at the door moving forward may not be the best way, because class might get canceled if we don't think we have a viable enrollment. So if you'd like to take the class, please register ahead of time. And I believe we have one more announcement.
Julia, looking good in that dress. Who are you wearing?
I'm wearing Senora Santos of Tegucigalpa.
Well, as David Bruner would say, hot. So why are you all dolled up?
Well, I'm getting ready for the Night on the Red Carpet, which is our annual dress-up formal evening. It's March 2nd, where we celebrate and watch the Oscars together.
Well, how can me and my 300 best friends get tickets?
Well, I don't think we have 300 tickets left, but we have more. We have almost half the tickets left. They're on sale in the Fellowship Hall or online. Today is the last day to get the early bird price of $60. Tomorrow the price goes to $75.
Thank you.
Get my ticket today. If there's something in your life for which you would like prayer, or something you would like to, whether it's something you want to celebrate or something weighing heavy on your heart, please have a seat in the chapel area after service, and our practitioners who are on duty today would be more than happy to pray with you. It's their gift, and it is free.
Can you leave this on? Was there a meal or something?
And there's a 4-course meal while you're watching the Oscars on a big-ass screen where the commercials are fast-forwarded through.
She said big. You said big ass on a big ass. We're the same height right now. I like this. Yeah, it's a big. If you want to come to a big ass screen, it's actually, the screen is big ass. It's awesome, and all the chairs in this room are stored elsewhere, and formal tables are brought in, and it's really a lot of fun. Even if you don't care about the Oscars, it's a lot of fun to be in community on that night, and it's a great fundraiser. So it's time for the vow renewals. Every year on the Sunday closest to Valentine's Day, we take special time in our Sunday celebration to share our hearts and divine love as it shows itself in human relationships. Those of us who bear witness may have the most powerful role of all, because when we witness something and appreciate it, we make it real. And in so doing, we make room for it in our own experience. So this is one of the blessings of spiritual community, that we get to celebrate the triumphs of our spiritual sisters and brothers, and then we get to invite that same triumph into our life as well. So I ask the partners to stand and hold hands and move into the aisles right now, if you will, those people who are going to take their vow renewals. Samantha, Michael, just do it. I see you guys looking at each other like, we're going to do this? Just do it. If you're looking for a sign, I'm your sign. If you're wondering to do it, just do it. And feel free to spread on down out, so if you guys are feeling a little crunched. Will the entire congregation please stand? Friends, family, visitors. In the fulfillment of our deep desire to love and to grow love, which are also the desires of spirit, I ask those of you who are witnesses, if you feel comfortable, to maybe place your hand over your heart, for those of us who are not perhaps coupled. And I'm asking you to participate in the ceremony by saying the words of, repeating the words to your spiritual partner, your lover of life, the universal presence, if you will, God. And I want to add something else right now. Tomorrow is the second of a 4-session series called How to Be an Adult in Relationships. 35 people signed up. 88 showed up. So we're expecting it to be very popular. And if you missed the first week, that's fine. You can just come tomorrow night. We're going to have the class in this room. If you can come with a partner, or you can come alone, it's going to be extraordinary, and it will be very useful. I just want to drop that. To all of you partners now, please join hands and look into each other's faces, if you will. And everyone, please repeat this recommitment at the same time. Please repeat after me. I recommit myself to you. I recommit myself to you. In love and in trust. In love and in trust. From this day forward, you shall not walk alone. You shall not walk alone. My heart will be your shelter. My arms will be your home. I freely re-choose you out of all the world to be my physical and spiritual partner. I accept the love of spirit that is in our relationship. This day I recommit to you, my partner. My partner that I will laugh with, live for, dream with, and together make these dreams come true. So please take a moment now and share anything private or personal that you'd like with each other. And those of you who are guests, just turn and maybe share something with someone near you. Would everyone please take the hand of someone near you? Please take the hand of someone on your right and on your left, and let's move right into our other custom here at the Center for Spiritual Living. Please repeat after me. I am at home in the heart of God. I am at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I release all fear. I am living love. And so it is. Amen. Good to see you.